And the lock code she changed without telling me. The first time I knew something had shifted was when the door refused to remember me. The keypad blinked red 3 times, a polite heartbeat of denial. I wiped my finger on my jeans, tried again, slower this time, as if patience were a password. Read again. From inside, the lock clicked open like a laugh. She stood there with a towel over her hair and the composure of someone who had been expecting me to fail. "Battery glitch," she said, stepping aside. The scent of citrus and some darker note, lune salé, a candle that pretends to be the moon, slipped past her shoulder and into me. She kissed my jaw like it was public property, accurate affection that spared my hope. I touched her wrist and felt the echo of a code I hadn't been told. We were supposed to be good. On Sundays, I iron pillowcases because flat cotton feels like a promise heat can keep. She sleeps with her palms splayed on my ribs like she's taking attendance of my breath. Our balcony forgives being too narrow for 2 chairs by letting us take turns and calling it choreography. When it rains after midnight, we crack the window and let the city wash its face while we wash each other's. Her knee hooking behind my thigh like a knot sailor's trust, my mouth finding that nickel-bright coin beneath her collarbone where breath confesses it wants to be flame. The apartment smells like basil, soap, and patience. I tell myself this so I can believe it. But the code was new. Evidence is a hobby for men who want to be wrong. I started a folder on my phone called Weather and filled it with things that belonged to the same family even if they didn't share a last name. The new passcode, the scarf folded with seminar confidence, the 2 receipts that refused to do math, the doorbell clip where a stranger's jaw leaned too close to glass, the voice memo she'd titled Later, 21 seconds of hiss, her laugh, and a man's voice saying my name like he'd borrowed it for rehearsal. She started showering in the dark, telling the mirror she had migraines, letting steam carry the lie. The water ran longer than honesty. She came out wrapped in my shirt, hair damp with excuses. "You're early," she said, which was her way of saying she was. I poured coffee loudly enough to be a story. "The door doesn't like me anymore." She smiled into the refrigerator. "Doors have moods. You should let them be artists." Later in bed, she crossed her knee behind my thigh and guided my hand beneath her shirt like a host turning on a lamp she trusts. We moved with the fluency of people who know their lines and still want the audience to applaud. Halfway through her eyes went elsewhere and came back with apology penciled along the edges. Pencil erases clean if you don't press. I kissed the apology. It stayed. The lock kept blinking red. At 2:03 a.m., the thermostat app congratulated me for saving energy while detecting occupancy I wasn't giving it. At 2:11, the doorbell recognized a face with 94% confidence and wrote his name across the jawline like a caption. "Welcome again, Milo." The clip showed the cheek leaning near enough to fog the lens, the shadow behind him slipping past like someone who has learned how to walk without waking mugs. The metal latch gave up the sound it makes when it forgives you. I asked her brother and our friend Anton to come for dinner. Courage likes even numbers. I made pasta like an apology and salted the water until it knew discipline. We ate while laughter carried plates, the apartment trying to behave like a room where only good things happen. After, I mirrored the doorbell clip to the television. The rectangle did its geometry around a stranger's jaw. "We should talk privately," she said instantly. "We will," I said, "but I need witnesses that I didn't dream a welcome." They left us to be a room. She picked up her phone and scrolled like a person pulling thorns. The voice memo blinked. The calendar invite that had RSVP'd yes at 12:03 a.m. to room service, Harbor Line 132:45 owed me nothing. She touched the thin place at my wrist, our old code, but left her thumb there too briefly to unlock anything. I told myself it was a hallway, she said finally. Somewhere I could stand without a tour guide. I liked the echo. Is he married? I asked, because bureaucracy helps grief stay upright. Separating, she said. A son, 8. Do you love him? The word is small until it brings a chair. She looked at the ceiling crack that refuses to pick a direction. I love who I am when I stop narrating. With you I started describing myself from outside, like I owed footnotes to every heat. He turns the placards around and says he believes the painting without the text. I loved us like architecture, she added, quiet. I wanted weather. We're going to separate, I said, and the sentence was a key nobody would cut again. She nodded with relief. I refused to rename cruelty. Do you want me to go now? I want the door to forget his face, I said. Pick a door, I'll take the other. Leaving photographs itself as fast, but houses do it slowly. She took the hoodie, the charger that fits everything, and the scent that trained corners to stand up straight. She left the scarf folded into weather, the candle that pretends to be the moon, and the lock that had stopped remembering me. At the threshold, she lifted her hand toward my wrist, the old code, and changed her mind midair. The absence landed better than touch would have. I was happy, she said, and greedy and afraid and sorry. You were alive, I said. So am I. The locksmith came on a Monday. He gave me a new code and told me not to share it with anyone who couldn't iron pillowcases on Sundays. I laughed like a person rehearsing. I set the balcony for 2 chairs and let one be empty without inventing who it belonged to. I opened the windows and let honest cold move through the rooms until the curtains forgot about saffron and secrecy. Because endings itch, I went downstairs to the lobby camera and taught it my face all over again. It blinked green. It said, welcome. It meant me. Now, when rain comes after midnight, I still crack the window to let the city wash its face. I iron pillowcases because some promises keep themselves if you heat them right. Sometimes I press my thumb to the thin place at my wrist and answer myself. Here, here, here. The lock knows me again. The house keeps my code. And when the phone asks if I want to improve recognition by sharing clips, I tell it no. Some doors are meant to forget. Some names deserve silence. Some nights, that's enough.